Hello, students. Welcome. Have you ever stopped to think how a massive country like ours is actually managed? It's a bit like your school. Your principal has to manage hundreds, maybe thousands of students, right? They can't possibly do it all alone. Well, today, we're going to unpack this big idea using a concept called federalism. Now, it might sound like a heavy word, but I promise you by the end of this, it'll make perfect sense.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with that simple school example I just mentioned. From there, we'll build up to what federalism actually is, and we'll figure out why a huge and diverse country like India really needs it. We'll also look at what makes a federal system different from other types of government, and then we'll see how it all comes together right here in India. And make sure you stay till the end, because I have a very important exam tip for you. So, first things first, let's think about something you all know very, very well. Your school. Especially if you're in a big school, have you ever really thought about how one person, the principal, manages everything? I mean, just think about it. From the smallest kids in nursery to the seniors in class 12, from sports day preparations to the annual day function, can one person really do it all by themselves? Of course not. It's just not possible. So, how does it work then? Well, it's simple. They share the power. The principal has the overall responsibility, of course, but they delegate specific duties to head teachers or coordinators, and those head teachers then work with the class teachers. See? Each level has its own specific duties. Your class teacher looks after your class, while the principal looks after the whole school. Now, this system that you see in your school, where power flows from the top, from the principal, downwards to different levels like the teachers, this system has a special name. It's called a vertical division of power. Please remember this term, vertical power sharing, because it is the key to understanding federalism. Okay, so now that we have this picture of a school in our minds, let's use that exact same idea to understand how a big country is run. This brings us right to the main topic. What is federalism? So what is federalism? Well, if you think of the school principal as the central government, federalism is a system where power is divided between that central authority and the various other units of the country, like our state governments. Let me repeat that for you because it's very important. Federalism is a system of government where power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units, like states. But that brings up a really important question, right? Why? Why do we need to divide power in the first place? Why can't one central government just handle everything for the whole country? Let's explore why a country like India absolutely needs a federal system. Just think about our country, India. We are a huge country and we have incredible diversity. So many different languages, cultures, foods, and traditions. It's just not practical for one government sitting in the capital to make the best decisions for everyone. For example, the central union government needs to focus on big issues that affect the entire nation, like national defense. But who knows the local issues better? The state government, of course. That's why they handle things like the local police or agriculture in your state. This division of work makes everything run more smoothly. And you know what? India is not alone in doing this. Far from it. Just look at this map. It's so interesting to see that most of the world's largest countries, like the United States, Canada, Brazil, Australia, they are all federations. In fact, about 40% of the world's entire population lives in the country with a federal system. So clearly, it's a very effective way to govern large and complex nations. Now, one of the best ways to understand what something is to understand what it is not. So the opposite of a federal system is something called a unitary system. Let's quickly look at the key differences between them. Now, this is the most important difference, students. In a federal system like ours in India, the state government has its own powers given to it by the Constitution. It is not just a subordinate or a junior assistant to the central government. The central government cannot just order the state government to do something. But in a unitary system, like the one in our neighboring country, Sri Lanka, there is really only one level of government, and it holds all the power. Okay, so we've got the theory down. Now, let's bring it all home and focus on our own country. How does India actually put this big idea of federalism into practice? What does our blueprint look like? You see, in India, our federal system has two very clear goals, two main objectives. The first goal is to safeguard and promote the unity of the country, to keep us all together as one nation. The second goal is to accommodate our country's vast regional diversity, to respect and celebrate the unique culture of every single state. It's a beautiful balance, isn't it? So to achieve this balance, India has a special structure. We don't just have two levels of government, We have 3. I want you to imagine a building with 3 floors. On the top floor, you have the union government, which takes care of the entire nation. On the middle floor are the different state governments, each managing their own state. And then, on the ground floor, closest to the people, we have our local governments, the panchayats in our villages, and the municipalities in our cities.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. It's a question I get from students all the time. If you give so much power to all the different states, doesn't that make the central government weaker? Doesn't it risk breaking the country apart? It's a very valid and important question.
And the answer from our own country's history is a very strong no. Actually, the opposite has been true. When we give power to the states and respect their unique languages and cultures, it makes people feel included. It makes them feel heard. It actually strengthens our democracy and makes our country even more united. Giving power doesn't weaken the nation, it makes it stronger from the roots up.
And to make sure everything runs smoothly without any confusion or arguments, our Constitution has done something very clever. It has created clear lists that divide the responsibilities. As you can see here, subjects that are important for the entire nation, like defense and banking, are on the union list. Things that are of local importance, like police and agriculture, are on the state list. And then there are some subjects, like education, that are important to both. These are on the concurrent list, where both governments can make laws. It's a very well-organized system.
Whew, we have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? So, let's take a moment to quickly go over the most important points that you absolutely must remember for your exams.
So, let's recap. First, federalism is basically the vertical sharing of power between different levels of government. Second, it is the perfect system for large and diverse countries like India. Third, remember its 2 main goals, to promote unity and to accommodate diversity. And finally, India follows a 3-tiered structure: union, state, and local government.
And now, as promised, here is your special exam tip. Are you ready? Whenever you get a question about federalism, please do not just write the definition. To get full marks, you must always explain why it is needed, especially for a country like India. Mentioning both the what and the why shows that you have truly understood the concept. All right, that's all for today. Keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.